Curtis, thank you for opening your home up to us tonight. I wish I had longer to stay. The 8th District Republican Committee is putting on a big event tonight up in Washington, D.C. on the Capitol Hill Club for all the young Republicans across the area. There's so much interest in Virginia. We're the center of the political universe. And so if you're a Republican and you live in Maryland or you live in Washington, D.C., they want to come here and work for us. And so there's going to be a couple of hundred people there. And so I'm going to head up there and go and talk to them shortly. But I asked Curtis if I could just stop by. I know Mason is split, 11th and 8th, but every single vote counts. And we're going to have George Allen up there, Pete Snyder, the head of the Virginia Victory Republican Committee. But what I just wanted to convey tonight is this is where we're going to win elections, not up on Capitol Hill, and it's great to have our leaders there, whether it's Reince Priebus or whomever else, but you all, precinct captains and voters and people who are out working the hustings is how we're going to win. And I just wanted to come and say hi to you this evening. Mention we've got 3 days till the elections, but who's counting? And this is your tour of duty. I'm an old Army guy. We have 103 days. God bless you.
I'm an Army mom.
Hooah. So that's our tour of duty. And I really do believe that this is our most important election. Oh yeah, politicians say that all the time. Most important election of our lifetime. But here's what I think is what we have. Imagine Barack Obama unfettered by the need to be reelected. And that is at the national level. And I know we've got some Mitt Romney folks here. George Allen, we can change the Senate. Virginia's going to decide this. Obama said it the other day when he was down here. Virginia will decide who the next president is, and we will. That's us. That's us. Virginia's going to decide if we have a Senate that's Republican or Democrat. And here in the 8th District, Virginia is going to decide if we're going to send the most corrupt, hyper-partisan guy with an anger management problem named Jim Moran back to Congress. And the 11th District is going to decide whether or not Jerry Connolly goes back or we elect another terrific retired Army colonel named Chris Perkins. And so that's what's at stake. On November the 6th, if we don't get it right, I believe America becomes a European social welfare state that punishes success, that stomps on initiative, and that worships at this great cathedral of federal government. And that's not what we are. But if we get it right, we can stimulate the economy. We can get jobs growing again. And I think about Ronald Reagan, my favorite quote. He used to say, freedom's only a generation away from extinction. That's where we are. And so thank you all for coming out on a hot night. I see Curtis has a swimming pool and a hot tub back there. And I'm starting to kind of reconsider going into D.C. But thank you all for coming out. And I've got a couple of minutes. Does anybody have any questions?
How does the southern part of the state look?
Oh, I think the southern part will go, other than Bobby Scott's district, the 2nd district, will go heavily for both Mitt Romney and George Allen. And it's northern Virginia where the most, we have the most voters here, and we have to get our vote out. And there are more Republicans here than you think. And so get your yard sign out. We just ordered 10,000 yard signs. And so I'm recycling from the last election because I'm frugal and cheap. Thank you. That's exactly right. Makes me feel good. And so, but we've got more coming. You've got some Romneys out there, and some George Allens and a few of ours. But I think the southern part of the state will be just fine. And in fact, I think the Commonwealth of Virginia will make the right decision. Any other questions, sir?
What do you think of the proposed defense cuts?
You know, we talk about that a lot, and when I'm out door knocking, I hear that a lot. Northern Virginia, the 8th District in particular, I mean, we've got the Pentagon, we've got Fort Belvoir, we've got Fort Myer, we have tens of thousands of defense contractors who are about to get a pink slip. Sequestration is gonna carve out an additional $500 billion from our defense budget. And I'll get to the national security ramifications in that in a minute, but it's gonna really, really damage the economy in Northern Virginia. My opponent doesn't have a problem with it because the other side, Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi and Jim Moran, are holding those jobs and frankly our national security hostage to what? Tax increases. Give Marty a gold star. That's exactly right. Tax increases. Tax increases that don't help our deficit. They just want tax increases to spend more money. And so I'm very concerned about that. We're talking about that a whole lot. We just had a press release, an op-ed, and because that is so germane to not only the district, but as a retired military guy, I'm very concerned about our national security. I know we've got some other veterans in here too, and so thank you all for your service. Can I get one more question? Yeah, Matt.
If not defense, where do you propose the cuts going? And if we're going to leave defense alone, how do you see a more frugal government? And how do you see a more frugal federal government?
Well, it's to me, the issue is on the entitlement side. And we have a couple of members of Congress who have the courage right now. Paul Ryan is one of them, and I've gotten to know him a little bit, to stand up and talk about the need for entitlement reform without impacting anybody who's about 50, 55 years or older. But guess what? I get a lot of support from people who are about 40 and younger because they know that Social Security is not going to be there for them if it just goes on like it is. They know Medicare is not going to be there. We were talking about the Affordable Health Care Act a while ago with Russ. $500 billion taken out of Medicare. So that is where all of our trillions of dollars of unfunded mandates are. And if we need to elect people with the courage and the willingness to deal with entitlement reform. And yeah, I'm willing to, I'm not averse to Defense Department cuts if we can deal with, there's always waste in everywhere you go. And I think across the board, we just went back to 2008 spending. Guess what? Bill Clinton actually did a pretty good job with the Republican Congress of cutting spending. If we had a Ronald Reagan tax cut mindset and a Bill Clinton budget cut mindset, we'd do pretty well, ladies and gentlemen. We would. And so we need some people and leaders in Congress who are willing to work on both sides, with both sides of the aisle, but I think it's entitlement.